September is going to be a month when it's time to go inward, check in with our spirituality and make some deep changes. Hello, I'm Barralet and welcome to this Crystal Connections video where we explore what's happening astrologically in September 2024, and then of course what gifts of nature, our crystals and our essential oils we can work with in order to thrive during this time. Now we go straight into September with two retrogrades happening on the first day. The major one is going to be Uranus retrograde. Now what's really interesting about Uranus is the way that the planet kind of works. Now if we look at it astronomically, all the other planets when they go around the sun rotate this way like a spinning top. However, Uranus kind of rolls like a bowling ball. This really points out the kind of energy of Uranus as well. Uranus is about innovation, transformation, revolution, doing things differently. It rules scientific discovery and technology and allowing us to evolve. Now when Uranus is going direct, of course we're going to find that these changes and evolutions and innovation are flowing quite freely. However, when Uranus takes his energy away, when he goes retrograde on the 1st of September, what you're going to find for the following month is that things aren't moving forward. Things aren't progressing. You'll feel like things are stuck. You'll feel like things are not moving as they want, and you'll start to get quite frustrated. Now, this is where the lesson of Uranus is right there. What you want to do is you want to look at what is frustrating me. What do I want to change? What do I want to shift? And use that energy positively to actually start making changes in your life and realizing that any angst, frustration, or negative feelings that are bubbling up inside of you are a sign that something's not right. It's time for some innovation, it's time for a revolution, and it's time for it to change. So spend the Uranus retrograde period contemplating this, and then once Uranus goes direct, then you can actually start to implement those changes into your life. Now, what gifts of nature do we work with? A really beautiful one to work with during Uranus retrograde is our beautiful Herkimer diamond. Now, Herkimer diamonds are actually not a diamond, they're a quartz, but they naturally grow in this beautiful form. They're not shaped in this way. And so what they help us to do is see the beauty in life, but also with their divine clarity, they help us with this high vibration energy to find clarity in what we actually want in our lives. It allows us not to just feel frustrated and angsty, but to actually go, well, why is that? And what can I do to change that? As Gandhi said, we must be the change we want to see in the world. And both Herkimer diamond and Uranus retrograde work really well together to help you to do that. Now, at the same time, I would work with Petitgrain essential oil. Petitgrain essential oil comes from a very generous tree, the bitter orange tree, which gives us 3 different essential oils. Bitter orange from the fruit, neroli from the blossom, and petitgrain from the leaves and the branches. Now, this whole tree is associated with Uranus for many, many reasons. But why I love the petitgrain energy when Uranus is in retrograde is petitgrain shows us that we must slow down. It's called lavender for men. It's got very similar chemistry to lavender. It allows us to settle down and to form a plan. So when you're feeling anxious, when you're feeling agitated, when things aren't shifting and moving and other people aren't doing what you want them to do, get your petitgrain out. Calm down. Make a plan of what you can do, and when you've got that strong foundation, then your life will start to blossom and bear fruit. So diffusing petitgrain is really, really beautiful when you're meditating or just at night to help you get a good night's sleep. Now, on that same day, we have a minor dwarf planet going retrograde as well. Now, she is still quite significant. Her name is Sedna, and she's way, way out beyond Pluto. But Sedna is named after an Inuit goddess who started off as a mortal. And as a mortal, she had a bit of a rough trot, really. And it ended up with her husband trying to throw her overboard on a boat into the ocean. And she held on to the edge of the boat, and he got a knife out and sliced her fingers off, and she fell into the ocean. She didn't drown though. She actually became the goddess of the oceans, of marine animals, and forevermore the Inuit people would pray to her for abundance of the ocean and safety on the oceans as well. So what Sedna teaches us when we look at where she's positioned in our birth chart is sometimes we need to suffer or go through trials and tribulation because that is part of our destiny. When you think about many of the great stories about great people in the world, they've normally had big trials and tribulations, and that's how we've come to respect them. And we're all destined to have some kind of trial or tribulation that will lead us towards our destiny. Sedna allows us to see this. But at some times, especially when Sedna is in retrograde, we can start to feel that victimization We can start to feel that we're being taken advantage of. Misogyny can kick in, all those different types of things. This is a chance for us to look at those, make sure that we don't get pulled into those stories of I'm a victim or negative thinking, and look at, okay, how can I use this? How can I turn this negative thing that's happening into my advantage? Just like Sedna did. Hey, she became a goddess and everyone wanted her forevermore. So really great things to work with when you're working with Sedna. Crystal wise, let me grab them. Hemimorphite. So this is the raw piece of Hemimorphite. And of course, if you're interested in any of the crystals I'm talking about, check out my full YouTube videos on them. This is a raw, nice polished kind of wedge of Hemimorphite. Hemimorphite is very much about self-expression, positive self-expression, getting out those feelings of feeling repressed, or when you're keeping things hidden, and allowing yourself to show who you truly are. This is really important to do, to make sure that the trials and tribulations, the suffering, the poor treatment that you're being subjected to, that it doesn't drown, you don't drown in them, that you actually relish in them, and how you can turn that around. Siberian fir is also beautiful to work with at this time. If you are feeling that real victimization at this point in time, what I do is I would diffuse this, especially each night, but also in meditation as well. What this will help you to do is it will give you fortitude and strength to stand up to this. And Siberian fir, which spends a lot of its time covered in snow, actually is almost like white light. It allows us to freeze off what doesn't serve us, and as the water melts, well, this didn't come from snow, it just came from rain, but it brings new life, and you can see all the green grass growing around as well. Siberian fir kind of has that energy, so really nice to work with Sedna being in retrograde. So those both go into retrograde on the 1st of September. Now, only a couple of days later, on the 3rd of September, we have our new moon for the month. This new moon is in Virgo. Virgo is a sign of the healer, and it's a sign of physical well-being and health. So this is a really great time to do a bit of a health check-in, and we'll work out, okay, well, where am I with my health? Where am I letting it slip? Where could I up-level? Could I improve my sleep, my food, my water, my time outside, my physical movement, any of those types of things? It's really about how can I honor my body so that I can enjoy this life and do all I want to do and not be inhibited by my body. So, of course, on the new moon, this is not a time for high magic. It's a time for contemplation, reflection, and kind of redirecting your sails. Grab your black tourmaline. Black tourmaline obviously grows in these shards and is really good at helping to find balance in our lives, as well as remove obstacles. So if you find that there is one aspect of your life, your physical well-being is out of balance, black tourmaline is going to serve you. If you find that something's hindering you, this can actually help to clear you out as well. So I really, really love it. Pair that with myrrh. Myrrh is a beautiful oil that is associated with Virgo. It is another healing oil, and it's really quite contemplative as well. It has a real new moon type of energy. You can use this as a mouth rinse. You can use it in your skincare, just adding a drop to your night moisturizer. Diffuse it as well, especially around that new moon, or just inhaling it and contemplate, how can I awaken my inner healer? What do I know that my body needs? How can I listen to my body a little bit more? Really do this around the new moon in Virgo. Now we have a big break in astrological action until 2 weeks later, we get the full moon. And it's on the 18th of September, and this is going to be in Pisces. Now Pisces, of course, is the final sign of the zodiac, and whereas Virgo is all about physicality, Pisces is all about spirituality. This full moon is the time to realign with your spirituality, your spiritual team. So those are your angels, your guides, your totems, your ancestors, and kind of work out, what would I like to do? What's my next spiritual evolution? What is the next step in my spiritual quest? Then you may know. If you know, then you can, do some magic. You can do some creative visualization. You can do some spell work or some witchcraft. Whatever that may be to actually help you get towards that mission. If you're not too sure, maybe you need to reconnect with that spiritual team. Either way, a really great crystal to work with is Tibetan Quartz. Now this is a crystal that's kind of disappeared into awareness recently, and not too many people have been talking about it, but I really feel it needs to be resurrected. It's a type of quartz, obviously, clear quartz, but you can see that there's black carbon in it. This is typical of quartzes found in Tibet. Now quartz grows all around the world. It's the second most abundant mineral in the ground, but where it grows, it tends to adopt the energy. Now, when I say Tibet, you feel very zen, you feel very kind of relaxed. It is a very spiritual place of the world. And so when we work with this, it allows us to, it empowers us to connect with our spirituality. Now, the full moon, my favorite oil for the full moon of all time is jasmine. And with Pisces being such a spiritual energy, you definitely want to bring your jasmine out at this time. Jasmine can be used in several ways, but one great way that I love is kind of like making a birthday wish. Get a drop of peppermint on your hands, under the full moon, rub it together, warm it up, think about in one sentence or something really short and concise what you want to manifest and what you want to ask the universe for. And like we blow out a birthday candle, send that wish out. Jasmine is said to carry your wishes onto the ears of the gods, to bring it into manifestation. But also diffusing jasmine and wearing jasmine and even using it in your skincare over that 3-day period from the 17th to the 19th of September will help you to align with this magical energy of the full moon at that time. Now, after that, on the 22nd, we hit our equinox. Depending in which hemisphere you're in, it's going to be different. So I'm going to be actually this equinox in the northern hemisphere. I'm going to be around the US. So if you're in the US and you want to come to one of my workshops, then make sure you subscribe to my newsletter where all the details are. So there, I'm actually doing a 1-day retreat on the fall equinox or the autumn equinox. This is the time when we want to look at what's happening in our surroundings. And what do we see mainly? We see the trees. They're changing colour, they're getting rid of their leaves. This is the time for simplifying. We're moving into the introspective half of the year, and so we want to get rid of everything we don't want to carry on into that kind of contemplative time. Just like a bear going into the cave to hibernate and kind of regenerate, this is the time when we start to prepare. But you want to get rid of all the emotional, all the physical, all the mental, all the spiritual energy you want. Like the bear going in the cave, you don't want to go into the cave with shit on your fur. So how do we get rid of that? This is a really great time to grab your clove. Clove essential oil is really great at setting boundaries and cleansing away things that are no longer serving us. Pair that with your red jasper. Red jasper is about simplicity, getting back to basics. We're all bloody dizzy, and I know I've been flat out preparing to go to America, and red jasper has been my friend. It's allowed me to feel empowered through going, what needs to be done and what can I leave for later? What really needs to be focused on, what's truly important for me and for my trip as well. So working with red jasper, working with clove, working with the base chakra around Mabon, which is the fall equinox, is a really powerful thing to do. And of course, check out my YouTube video, which has heaps of tips on what you can do in Mabon. Now, what happens if you're down here in the southern hemisphere, where I am right now? Well, it's the spring equinox. Here is where we're starting to see the wildflowers bloom. We're starting to feel the warmer days, and this is the time when we move from being contemplative into action. It's time to focus on that throat chakra, start communicating with people, sharing ideas, planting, seeds of desire with our words, and building all that really, really nicely. This is the time to start thinking about what you want to manifest in the active time of the year. This is the time to communicate, as I said before, but I feel that there's a real need for gentle communication at this point in time. So I've chosen Angelite for the crystal for those of you in the southern hemisphere to work with on the spring equinox. This helps us with communication, it helps us with our throat chakra, but not with talking, with listening. It's very much about listening to others and hearing what people are saying to you, but also what the universe is saying to you and where you're being guided to put your energy and your attention into. Pair that with another beautiful throat chakra tool, Roman Chamomile, just as peaceful, just as gentle, really great in your skincare, really great in your bedroom diffuser or when you're meditating to help bring that calmness to your communication. Although we're getting active, we don't need to burst out of the gate at this point in time. We can start to just slowly move into action. So that's what you can expect for this month, September 2024. To summarize, we have 2 equinoxes happening on the 1st of September. We have Uranus going retrograde, and we want to grab our Herkimer diamond and our Petitgrain essential oil. We have Sedna also going retrograde, so we grab our Hemimorphite and also our Siberian fir. 2 days later, we get ready for the new moon in Virgo, the time to focus on our physical well-being. And this is where we grab black tourmaline, and we want to grab our Myrrh essential oil. Then, for the 18th, that is when we have the full moon. Grab your Jasmine, grab your Tibetan Quartz, or even your moonstone if you don't have any Tibetan Quartz yet, and start connecting with your spiritual team and making that next step in your spiritual life. On the 22nd, we all celebrate the Equinox. Those in the north will be celebrating Mabon, or fall equinox, a time for letting go and simplifying, grabbing their Clove to create boundaries, and their red Jasper to allow them to ground and simplify their lives. And those of you that are down in the southern hemisphere, it's Ostara, the spring equinox. And this is a great time to start focusing on our throat chakra, planting those seeds of desire, forming relationships and networks so that we can start to work with the world and bring what we want. I'd love to know, what are you excited about for September? What crystals and oils are you going to grab out? Which one's really sung to you out of this list? Let me know if you have any questions as well. Thanks for hanging out with me for a few moments. Hope you can hear me over the waterfall. I'm Adam Barralet. Blessed be.